When you celebrate something, it's always an imperfect thing unless you've got a sort of publicity gloss on it. The congregation met first in 1749, and then a year later had a home, physical home, 1750.
And so tell me about the church at that time.
So part of our preparations for considering our 275th anniversary was to reconsider that kind of murky past, and to think a bit about how that connected with the indigenous population that already lived here. And we have done that with our historical placarding. A lot of tourists and people come through, and the foundation panel was significantly changed to recognize where the church was first established.
Joseph Howe, those kind of historians of Nova Scotia, they recorded these events as well in their history book of Cornwallis declaring proclamation on scalp on Mi'kmaq in 1749, and that was all the big protests in Halifax to tear down the statue of Cornwallis and all of that.
On the big scheme, we have referenced and wholly supported the apologies delivered by the Anglican Church of Canada and by the Archbishop of Canterbury for the way in which the community of faith did not distinguish itself from the British imperial project. It was wrapped up in it.
Well, a church like this, which was the established church, and after that very much one might call an establishment church, was a place where great celebrations would be held to commemorate events such as the deaths of important people in the community, important moments in the history of the British Empire, such as, say, coronations, the deaths of monarchs, and so on.
And so tell me about how it was impacted by the Halifax explosion.
Well, St. Paul's was not damaged as much by the explosion as one might have expected. It was perhaps the only church in Halifax which was still in sufficiently good condition to be used during the Halifax explosion. It was a place where individuals were cared for and where worship continued, not only by members of St. Paul's, but by other communities.
So tell me the real story of the window.
Well, the window was damaged by the Great Explosion.
When people come and visit St. Paul's, it's one of the things they always want to come and see, because the windows in the galleries were blown out, but one of the windows was blown out, but it left a silhouette of an individual, or it looks like the silhouette of an individual. And the parishioners were so taken with this that they left the broken window, put 2 panes of glass on either side, and you can still see it today.
And I understand there's a piece of glass from the windows still in the wall?
Well, it's actually a piece of metal, which was blown through the window in the narthex and into the wall. And you can get an idea of the force of the explosion by looking at this piece of metal and how it was driven into the wall and is still there to this day.
This is a church in the middle of downtown Halifax and has been here since the city's inception. What has it meant to the community over those hundreds of years?
Well, I can't speak authoritatively. I can tell you what we hope it has meant and means is that although it is a community of faith with a confession, and any church is, any religion is, we hope it has open doors and windows so that people can come and go. Those who gather, say, midweek or on a Sunday for a liturgy of worship, they are generally, although not always, people committed to the Christian faith. But the church is open to all inquirers. It's open to people coming in and out of the building just to meditate in their own tradition or to take it in historically with the help of the historical panels and literature that we have here, or simply as a place to seek refuge. One of the important things that we want to leave is that it's necessary to acknowledge that in the past of any institution, it's made mistakes, and that it needs to be very thoughtful and creative in reaching out to the communities that it wronged or might have wronged. But the other thing is simply to celebrate the fact that our ancestors devoted so much time to so many meaningful things for the city, and that these things continue to be important to us today.